So if you run a data team, you already know the hardest part of the job isn't the technical bit, it's the prioritisation. There's always more on the roadmap than there is time, and the people I place, heads of data, CDOs, CTOs, the good ones, the ones who actually move the needle, all have the same skill in common. Know what not to do, and that's what we're going to get into today. I'm joined by Asia Faulds, Head of Data Science at Booksy. We're going to talk about why most data teams don't fail technically, they fail at prioritisation, and what Gen AI has actually changed in her week. She also shares one takeaway that you can take into your week as a leader in AI. And I'm Michael Young, this is a class act, and make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Okay then, Asia, brilliant to have you on. You're at Booksy right now, leading data science. Before that, BBC, Trustpilot, you wrote The Data Pragmatist. For people who haven't already came across you and don't know you, would you like to give an introduction?
Good morning, Michael. Thanks for having me. I'm Asia. I'm currently at Booksy, leading and building the data science and applied AI team from scratch. My journey into data started a while ago, and I think as a lot of data scientists, I come from a scientific background. So I did my master's in physics at the University of Edinburgh. And afterwards, I did what most physicists do. So I decided to pursue a PhD in computational physics. However, after a year or so, I realized that the academic life wasn't for me. I look at my skill set. Yeah. I had science, but also maths, stats, programming background. And I looked at what's out there in the job market. And at the time, there was quite a lot of noise about this data science thing. So I was keen to explore it a little bit more. And to be honest, it wasn't even clear at the time what's the data science job about. There were these articles saying, oh, it's the sexiest job of the 21st century. Yeah. But it did sound extremely interesting. So it really did appeal to me. And I just gave myself a boot camp. I learned the fundamentals of machine learning and started applying for jobs. And somehow I landed a role at the BBC, and I never looked back since. I went straight into the deep end. I was working in the space of recommendation engines, building real systems for real audiences in BBC Sounds. Afterwards, I moved to Trustpilot. I spent there around 5 years. And I work in a variety of roles across product and go-to-market area. I was building models and machine learning applications as an IC first. There were both externally facing models for the B2B app, but also internal applications for our sales, marketing, and operation teams. After a few years, I moved into the management track, and I was looking after a team. And this was when I realized I enjoy the people stuff even more and the IC bit. And I think what I particularly loved was being able to have a bit more impact and being able to support people and help them prioritize, help them iterate on solving problems quickly. And this year, I decided to take on a new challenge, and I started at Booksy. So when I joined, there was no data science team, and I'm currently building one from scratch. So it's all about hiring brilliant people, about building technical foundations with them for our function, about working on the AI strategy with the business stakeholders, really enjoying it.
You've written something I keep coming back to, which is that most data teams don't fail technically, they fail at prioritisation and dealing with ambiguity. Why is that such a common failure mode?
Yeah, a good question. The way I like to think about building data science solutions in industry is that we want to do something useful. And so, obviously there's the technical side that's very interesting to data scientists. These are usually really smart people that know all the maths and all the nitty-gritty things behind the algorithms. But it's important not to get carried away with that. At the end of the day, if it's an applied AI role, you're building something for the business and for the users. So it's about having the right mindset and being able to build the right thing and in the right way.
Yeah.
So when it comes to prioritization, it's good to have a think about what can move the needle for the business, right? Because these are usually the most important problems that we want to tackle. Then it's good to think about the end product and how the users will be using it, because you can build a simple algorithm solves, I don't know, 95% of the problem, or you can build something really, really sophisticated. That's a little bit better, but carries much more complexity. So it's good to consider, do we need explainable AI or not, for example? And again, when it comes to prioritization, there are solutions that are technically feasible today, and there are solutions that might be feasible in a year or so. You cannot build models without data. And so if people build ML and AI solutions just in isolation and just think about that algorithm and don't think about the problem holistically, then this is where the prioritization fails, because you might get wonderful POCs, wonderful exploratory work in notebooks, but if it's not connected to the reality of your data ecosystem at your company, if it's not connected to your users and the business metrics, then it's not maybe the right problem to be working on. So yeah, even if you have very smart people, technically strong people, you might still be failing in a way.
From a hiring perspective, I do see that organisations often hire brilliant technical people and then expect them to operate in ambiguity without clear priorities, decision rights, or outcomes. They hire capability, but not always leadership, communication, or influence. Do you think that's maybe one of the reasons teams struggle?
You can sometimes even tell from the CVs. If a CV is just focused on like listing the tools and listening like some sophisticated techniques without the mention of an impact, it's like straight away an indication of somebody's mindset. So the best data scientists I've seen are the ones that are technically strong, but also have this like business acumen and can connect to the reality of the company that they are working on. And they really want to gain this like domain knowledge, because at the end of the day, the maths and the coding and data engineering are a part of what we're doing. But it's really like you do need to gain this domain knowledge, and you can only get it from non-technical people in the company who are the experts in the domain. It's really important to hire like well-rounded professionals to move as fast as possible.
So hard now hiring from a CV just by the world of AI we're in now. It's supposed to come here to help us, but it's becoming just a minefield out there. Do you think organisations sometimes confuse activity with progress? That there's lots of dashboards, models and outputs, but maybe no real prioritisation around business value?
That's so true. There's so much hype about using AI and being more productive with AI. And honestly, it's not just in tech. I think every single sector at the moment faces the same hype. So I think, as we all know, AI is fantastic at speeding up some type of work. And I think it's daft not to use it for it. You can summarize things instantly. You can draft your first versions of documents. But it's important to use it for like the work that's like boring and repetitive, just so that we can free up time for important tasks that humans are very good at, tasks where you can still show your creativity, your judgment. So you want to automate the boring bits and free up time for important stuff and for having important conversations, for having focused time to think. Whereas if it's just about producing more, then we might find ourselves in the situations where we used to produce, I don't know, maybe 2 dashboards per month. Now we can produce 200. But then at the end of the day, who's going to look at these dashboards? The same with reports. My friend was telling me the situation where her work, people using AI for writing reports, and then other stakeholders are using AI for summarizing these reports. There's only so much one can consume at the end of the day. So it's good to use it sensibly.
100%. 100%. And kind of moving on to like Gen AI, like tools have got dramatically more powerful and dramatically more accessible. What has Gen AI genuinely changed in your team, and what hasn't it changed?
Well, first of all, I would say that the scope of the data science role has increased dramatically in the last few years. Traditionally, data science was about classic ML, and full stack data scientists had to have a knowledge of these algorithms and know how to deploy them in production as well. But now we've got another area of LLMs, agents, RAGs. So that's you just keep adding totally new topics and new skill to the data science roles. A very important thing for data scientists is about these evaluation frameworks and system designs when it comes to LLMs. And it's harder to catch up with everything than it's ever been because it's so much has been going on in the area. So first of all, the scope of the role has increased. Now we're doing more than before. And it's important also just to understand what you can use classic ML for and what you should use LLMs and Gen AI for. We have assisted coding now. Data scientists use Cursor, Cloud Code, and other tools to help with coding. You also asked me what didn't change. Well, I touched on this already. The create part of the job, parts of the job that need a human in the loop, they still haven't changed. It's actually even more important, the human judgment right now, because it's so easy to produce a model, a result, a recommendation, but you do want to assess if it makes sense. And so that's even more important than ever.
Definitely. And things are, but the job titles and skills that are dramatically changing across like data science, and now you've got all the kind of AI engineering as well. We've got clients who will look for AI engineers, but when we speak to them, they'll say, "Look, we need an AI engineer, but we don't want someone from a data science ML background. We want someone from more a software coding background, or vice versa." So it's back to probably where it was a few years ago with hiring for data scientists, when it was just a word that was, look, you aren't looking for a data scientist here. You're just looking for maybe a customer insight analyst or a CRM analyst. You're going to have to pay a lot more money if you're calling it a data scientist. Then it's changed so much when I think about it. I know that's 20
it's
20
so
years.
true. It's so true. And at every company, like the job titles mean different things. And I mean, a good point. Sometimes the AI engineers, they are people coming from software background, and they more, it really depends what the company is looking for.
No, it's fascinating times. And can you walk me through a single week of your team's stack 2 years ago versus a single week of your stack now? What's gone? What's new? What's identical?
We still use Python and SQL. I don't think this is changing anytime soon. Still, the core of the work are cloud platforms, so it depends on the company. But I've mostly used GCP, BigQuery. We still need to think about the exploratory phase, which might happen in notebooks. But then as soon as you have something sensible, you would usually try to move things to production and build pipelines. So this is still not going away. We're still thinking about deployments and good engineering practices. And maybe a few years ago, let's say Airflow was a more prominent tool. Now we moving to other solutions, dbt, Dataform, but the core tasks are the same. What's new? Assisted coding. Now we rely more and more on AI to help speed things up and automate the boring bits, writing tests, for example. And I think the biggest evolution, to be honest, I've seen is in the field of NLP. Systems are obviously trained on gigantic volumes of text and are brilliant at both generating and summarizing pieces of text. In the past, you would be using NLP techniques for that. And I remember back at the BBC in 2019, we're trying to summarize news articles, and it was not the most trivial thing. And the results were actually not that good when we did some exploratory work. So it was early, maybe 2019. And now we know how much progress we made in the area.
You need people like yourself, you need to really stay on top of these things, be on your game. There must be a lot of reading and studying and just keeping in touch with what's new. And not all the time as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So This is a field where you always have a bit of an imposter syndrome. And it doesn't matter if you're new to the field and totally overwhelmed by everything that's out there, or you've been doing it for a while, because this is what's happening right now. And it's new for all of us. So actually everyone is in the same boat. So I think it's good to kind of just understand and acknowledge that you can never know everything.
Definitely.
But it's absolutely crucial for ICs and the management folks to stay on top of things. Then access to knowledge has been really democratized both. There are tutorials, YouTube, a lot of learning platforms, Coursera, etc. And there are fantastic resources that are available for free from cloud platforms. Then you can use AI to teach you about AI as well. So this is actually what I do sometimes. I'm just asking the AI assistants to help me stay on top of things. I think that's quite cool. But what you want to learn is probably the kind of minimum amount that you can use to actually build things and apply things.
Oh, definitely. It's like any kind of profession or line of work. If you want to stay top of your game and progress your career and be the best, you need to keep ahead. I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I've spoken about this a few times on the podcast. I know probably even for myself, I've worked on quite a few leadership, like kind of head of AI positions lately, and I've probably learned more over a 6 month search than what I have in maybe the last 10 years in recruitment. It's been fascinating. And again, I've used AI, I've been reading and studying and looking at how a head of AI would fit into an enterprise via scale up, via startup, what the kind of personal traits are, all that stuff. But I love it. It's I don't know, I'm just quite excited about the markets at the moment and learning.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's obviously AI is not new. AI didn't appear in 2022, but this is when most technical people became aware of it. And now you sometimes probably even sick of hearing, hearing about the AI, right? That's all people talk about.
I know. I'm actually taking pictures of things with my chat GPT. I'm not even asking it. I'm taking a picture and asking it for the answer, or I'm talking to it now. Like I probably did that 5-6 times today, and we're only sitting at 10:30 in the morning. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's the same as any, I would say, revolution, but this one is progressing maybe faster than the previous ones, industrial revolutions, etc. So there's a lot of good that's coming out of it, and obviously there are some risks too. Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to seeing how things evolve, and where we're gonna be in 5 years.
God, I don't know. I know, same, unreal. So let's kind of go somewhere specific. So as a leader on that topic, could you tell me about a time you've had to reframe a crisis to avoid burnout?
I can talk about quite a few examples, but I think, the burnout can be coming from two things. One is just overworking and doing too much and pushing too hard. So in these situations, like I just actually try to lead by example. I will be honest with you, Michael, I have seen way many people that are burned out or about to be burned out compared to low performers, especially with working from home. It's sometimes hard to keep this balance. So I try to really check in with people often, just try to sense from how they're behaving, how they're talking, how the energy is. And I think you can tell quite a lot. I would always go for a lunchtime walk. I would say manage this probably 95% of the time. And I just tell my team about it and try to encourage them to do the same. But the burnout can also come from the sort of lack of fulfillment. And maybe this is the example I'd like to talk about. If you're building something, working on something, putting an effort in, but your product is not being used by people, this can also lead to burnout and kind of mental fatigue. And it's a bit discouraging. There is an example where data scientists did a really good work technically, and the project got shipped to production, linked to a CRM system. It wasn't really used. We, of course, had alignment with stakeholders and agreed how the outcomes of the model will be utilized. But it turned out that there wasn't maybe quite enough operational maturity. The end users couldn't really absorb the predictions and act on them accordingly. In these situations, you just need to try to learn and reframe things positively. And you want to pause a project because it's not adding any value at the time, but you still want to recognize all the hard work that was done and just think where else it could be utilized. And I think it's about the framing and supporting people.
I suppose the marathon training, that's always a good release as well, isn't it? Where getting out and running, that's my kind of thing, just getting out in nature and running.
Yeah, I'm not at the marathon stage yet, but
A
maybe
half
next year.
marathon,
Maybe
half
next year,
marathon.
yeah. But definitely, honestly, the physical activity, like
Yeah.
if you have sedentary job, in my opinion, is a must. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. As for me, I can't live without it, and I do it more for my head rather than my fitness. So definitely. So if you had any kind of real moments where you thought we can't go on with this within leadership, like there's maybe been a time where it's just like we can't go on with this and you've had to make changes. Maybe just like you're running a team or you're working on a project, maybe like that one you spoke about where it didn't go to production, where you just know you're doing something and it's not working and the energy and focus is not there and you think, God, we can't really keep going on like this and you've had to make changes.
There were situations where there was probably a lot of noise. There was a lot of noise. So let's say we've got a project, we agree on the scope. Of course, you want to get yourself a little bit of a leeway for adjustments. But sometimes, stakeholders just keep coming with new requests.
Yeah.
And this is the time where you can be flexible, but up to a point. And when there is just constantly new requests and ask for adjustments, you just sometimes need to say no and protect the bandwidth of your team because the team already built something and verified it and moved on to productionizing the project.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't be doing both at the same time. So often people might be asking for, I don't know, new features in a model.
Yeah.
And they might be asking, oh, have you considered that? Have you considered that? And we like, yes, but now we actually want to shift something. Like you can't rebuild the model a day before the launch. I think this could be one of the situations. I think another one is when you maybe align on things and the team worked on a project for quite a while, let's say quarter.
Yeah.
And then the bottleneck as the tasks that take maybe a day or two to do. So these are the situations, probably the most frustrating because you blocked by some business inefficiency and you just might be wondering why it's like that.
And you've got an exec team sitting there, but they don't really see what you guys are doing every day and the full quarter of building. And they just think, let's just change it the day before. I can imagine. I probably did that myself at times. I can imagine my team are quite frustrated with me now.
This is why it's good to do releases quite often so that you don't have this gigantic build-up. So when we, for example, let's say we're doing, a churn model, even before I start working on the model, I'm saying, this is the V1 and I want to gather your feedback. I want to measure the performance. And then we're going to iterate. We don't want to build the perfect thing straight away. Also, we're not going to know what the perfect thing is until we just gather real life data. So I quite like this iterative way of building data science solutions. You build, you ship, you learn, and you repeat or kill. It depends.
Love it. I love it. And I think just to finish this kind of section here, look, I've probably seen organisation like hiring leaders or senior people into environments that are already really running hot. So from your perspective, like, how much of leadership today is actually protecting the energy and focus of the team?
If things are going well and there is an always appetite from the business to do more and do things faster, right? So you need to be quite realistic because I know that there always will be unexpected tasks. So of course, you want to set ambitious goals for the team, but setting some time aside for unexpected work and maintenance work is just essential. Then you want to protect your team from ad hoc requests. There are ways you can do it. You can set up formal channels. You can communicate to stakeholders. They should be using them instead of just messaging the members of your team. When things are not going well, then some leaders might expect AI just to fix everything. But this is not the magic plaster that you just slap on and it's gonna resolve all the issues. I can just amplify things. If we have good data, And then we can make better predictions. If we don't have good data foundations, then it's not really going to work. The same when it comes to the operations. If we have good practices, we can amplify them with AI. We can free up somebody's time. But if teams are not really, don't have a clear direction and perhaps don't know what they're doing, what is the goal, again, AI, it's not going to fix that. So there is a lot there to unpack.
No, there is. And it's a great answer. I was just thinking a lot when you were speaking there as well. Again, from my kind of perspective, that working on senior leadership positions as well, like the amount of people I speak to during a search who have maybe been in a business for less than 6 months, who are back on the market and looking again, and it's quite, wow, you've left a big job, maybe well over 6 figures or security there, and they've moved into another organisation and it's not worked out because a lot of these reasons here. I think being able to really lead projects, being able to manage expectations, just everything you said, like all that kind of stuff, protecting energy and getting it going.
Yeah.
You really got me thinking there.
This is one of the sort of like roles of data leadership,
Yeah.
is to really challenge the business and challenge stakeholders. Don't just like blindly accept requests, and be very open and ask a lot of questions. You want to come in with a positive attitude, but also like you do need to be realistic. What can be done, what cannot be done. And often companies might want to go from zero to hero as well. And get excited about certain solutions, but they might just not be technically feasible. Also, sometimes you don't need AI. And this is a very important thing to consider. Sometimes just a well-written SQL script or a well-organized set of business rules is enough for the first pass. We don't need a neural network. We don't need God knows what. It's important to just kind of communicate it to the business and see what they need. And you probably heard this a lot, Michael, that agents are often just like glorified workflows. Of course, there are powerful agentic solutions, but often it's just automation disguised as agents.
Just based on the conversation here, a little bit off topic, but just the importance for leaders, people like yourself, choosing their next career move as well. I know that for somebody like you were in Trustpilot, I think 5 years, you did a great job. You loved everything I know about it was positive and you loved it and you didn't really need to move if you didn't have to. You could have sat there quite comfortable, but you must have, how much thought goes into like, this next move then? You must need to do a lot of due diligence as well, like with the leadership team, the execs, the company, the roadmap, the direction. I know we're going a wee bit off direction here, but you really got me thinking about that there, and I think it's quite valuable for maybe leaders who are looking to move on just now, especially in this new world. How important is it for them to really go and make sure their next position is the right one for them?
Oh, it's so difficult, and you never gonna know until you start. I could be talking about this for a while.
I know. It just came out.
I had this dilemma, and we chatted about it last year. But I think one should decide, first of all, is it a good time for me to move right now? And this is role agnostic. Am I actually ready for change? Because it's change. And I know the times in my life where I absolutely wouldn't be ready for change. So this is the first thing to consider. Do I actually want something else? Am I maybe, do I want to challenge myself in any way? Do I want to work in a different sector? And then it's about, thinking where I want to go, right? And again, there's a lot there to consider, right? Like, what sector do I want to be working on? What do I think about my leadership managing me, right? So I think at the interview stage, you try to assess these things and see if it aligns with how you're thinking. Also, again, there are really a lot of options, but sometimes we can overthink things and you just need to go with your gut feeling as well. But what I try to keep in mind is like nothing is irreversible. Sometimes you just want to give it a go and then see what happens, because you really won't know until you start.
I love that. It's a great attitude to have. Really good. Okay, so the most important question of the whole conversation: if someone listening to this makes one change this week as a result of this episode, one specific thing, what should it be?
I think it's worth thinking about what you can simplify
Yeah.
and how to protect your time. All busy, busy people, but busy doesn't always mean productive. I think it's good to take a step back from your daily workflows and your daily tasks and just reflect a little bit and see, okay, which projects are actually adding value, which conversations are adding value, which meetings are adding value, and what things I can remove or resign from just to free up this time to, we talked about staying on top of the game. If you are in meetings for every second of your working day, when are you going to have time to think or learn or reflect on things? So carving out the focus time and the breathing space, it's so important. And you know what? I found from my own experience that times where I was working the longest hours, I was probably not actually doing the highest quality work.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's sometimes good to just give yourself a tiny bit of breathing space to let good ideas come.
Yeah, no, 100%. Totally agree. What kind of belief do you hold today that you wish you had maybe 10 years ago?
Good question. Oh gosh, it's probably quite a few
Yeah,
things, but I think I always have this outlook that things will work out. I just wanted
yeah,
to change my career and go into a new field. And that was a brave thing to do. And I felt positive about it. One belief that I didn't have necessarily was like, maybe having that much self-confidence, and this was holding me back maybe a little bit.
yeah,
So had the mindset of listening and absorbing and learning,
yeah,
but probably it would have been good to be, I don't know, maybe a bit more vocal and
yeah,
maybe sharing my ideas a bit more bravely very early in my career,
yeah,
because now I'm okay with that, right?
yeah,
And I do that and I encourage others to do that. But I kind of felt maybe my first couple of years in a role that I'm just here to learn and listen
yeah,
and work hard, and didn't give myself permission to focalize my ideas because I thought, okay, I don't know enough
yeah,
and I'm not ready for that. So yeah, just knowing that, yeah, you can always contribute.
yeah,
So it doesn't matter where you are. There are no stupid questions as well. Now, to be honest, the more senior I am, the more questions I ask.
yeah.
And it's okay. Nobody's going to judge you for asking questions. It's a good thing to do.
No,
Um,
brilliant. I love it. Just caught you off guard with that one, but I think sometimes these are the best questions because it brings it
yeah.
out, and it's
Yeah.
exactly what you said. Like, early on in your career, you're absorbing, you're taking it all in, you're just learning, and the more experience you get, the more kind of belief and all that kind of stuff. A lot of that comes with just kind of maturity and in the game. But love it. No, I think that's exactly what I wanted people to walk away with today. I think there's been a lot in this. We've jumped about, and it's got me thinking about a lot of different things as well. And I've asked different questions and where it was leading, but I think it's brought up some really good stuff. So I think people will 100% get a lot from this.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun chatting through these topics. And yeah, you
Yeah,
made me pause and can now reflect on some things, yeah, as well.
that's good. Okay, so where can people follow you? If people are looking to connect, follow you, read what all the stuff you do, where can they find you?
I'm Edinburgh based, so if there are some local meetups, that's probably where you can find me in person. Actually, I will be attending the Data Fest tomorrow and the day
Brilliant. I'll
after.
probably see you.
I'm always joining your events, Michael, as well. The most common way is to reach out on LinkedIn. However, I do get a lot of messages,
Yeah,
so I might not always be able to reply. I also set myself a goal of trying to share my thoughts and musings a little bit, and I started writing the blog on Medium called The Data Pragmatist
nice.
because it's kind of sums up my approach. I love data. I love all the technical details, but I'm also very pragmatic about it. And
Yeah,
I'm like obsessed with delivering the value and making an impact. So hence the name. So yeah, I think my Medium blog is a good place to connect. And I'm also at the moment starting my own side hustle
nice.
and want to give them a little coaching as a consultancy
Brilliant.
business a go. So if people want to chat about the careers, what data roles really involve, want a bit of guidance on the
Yeah,
next steps, you can find me via my website and we can have a chat about it and figure out the next steps. So yeah, it just really depends. Yeah.
brilliant. Thanks very much. Really good. Okay, then. So, just for the listeners, if this episode has got you thinking about your own data and AI team, whether that's capability, leadership, or how your team's structured, that's exactly what we do here at MBN. you can come and find me. And if you did enjoy this one, please give it a review. But massive thanks. Really, really enjoyed that. So thanks very much and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day too. Enjoy the sun.
Thanks for listening to A Class Act. If you've enjoyed the episode, make sure to follow the show so you never miss a conversation. And if you're building a data team or making a key leadership hire, reach out to us at MBN Solution using the link in the show notes.